नाही काय केलंय मला नाही कळत.
मी आलो तिथेच.
I apologize for this issue. Just wait for Mr. Kapadia to come. I hope I'm audible to everybody.
Yes. Perfect.
Yes, audible.
Thank you everybody for joining in once again. This is the Corporate Legal, and we have with us Mr. Nishchal Kapadia, who in part A of the webinar, in the first 40 minutes, he has very crisply taken us through various aspects of the mutual funds and the Franklin Templeton issue. Of course, we'll be discussing much more while we wait for him to join in again. I'm just messaging him. Okay, so he's back. Yeah, he's here. My apologies, Nishchal, for this issue. We are not new to this issue. So, I think you're mute. I'll just unmute you.
Yeah, I just started. Yes.
Okay.
We'll have to wait for a while till people join.
Let's just wait for a minute.
Yes, sure.
While we wait. Actually, nowadays I don't even feel like saying sorry. I just tell everybody just log in because we just been used to this.
True.
तो भाई उनको स्क्रीन तैयार कर लेने दो, बोलना बाद में शुरू करेंगे. निश्चल आप स्क्रीन तो तैयार वो कर ही लो ना अपना जो अपलोड करना है प्रेजेंटेशन.
Yeah. Screen sharing option is there.
Yeah. Visible?
Yeah. Perfect. I think we'll start. Let the other members join in as and when they win.
Yeah. Great. So this was the fee part of it. And this is just to show the growth of the mutual fund industry. Since 2008, I've taken the points because that's where the entire financial markets changed the way it was. Since 2008, it has grown 15% CAGR, and since 2013, it has grown at 23% CAGR. It's right now around 22 or 23 lakh crores of assets that the mutual fund industry manages right now. 23 lakh crores of assets. As on today, also it is in the range of 23 lakh crores. It had gone to around 25 lakh crores, but due to the last year where the markets have been down, plus there were some issues like the Franklin Templeton issue, the money has come down a bit. Now, just to give a brief about where the money and what the money is all about, 50% of the 23 lakh crore is corporate money, which means large corporates investing in mutual funds. These would be predominantly debt funds because large corporates do not take a lot of risk. They invest in bond market through mutual funds. They invest in liquid market through liquid funds, etc. And another 50% can be largely the retail money, and the retail money is spread across, say, equity, debt, etc., etc. That's what the broad split of the money in the mutual fund market is. So with this, I am concluding the mutual fund industry understanding segment of it. I would suggest any questions that you have on overall mutual fund industry or some points which I would have not addressed, but you would like to understand, please ask. After this, we move to the current credit issue that happened.
I'm sorry, but there was one question which was raised by Parimal Sheth. I have lost that question because that was on the previous session. Parimal Sheth, I think she's there. So if you
Okay.
have the question, can you re-ask the question if you want? So we'll wait for her to ask the question. Till that time,
Sure.
I think we can continue.
Sure. Yeah. So any other questions that anyone has? The reason being, from now, I mean, once we finish this, we'll move to the current credit crisis that happened. So before that, if any questions around mutual funds, things around that, the fee, etc., or how does the mutual fund function? Anything, please feel free to ask.
Oh, Nischal, my question is,
Yes.
uh, if any mutual fund scheme invests in the debt fund of any company,
Okay.
and if that company defaults in fulfilling the commitment, then what will happen to this mutual fund? Because so other investors have already invested, and
Hmm.
that particular company defaults in repayment or whatever. I think it recently happened in case of SL company's debt fund,
Yes.
where
Yes. Yes.
HDFC mutual fund was penalized heavily.
Yes, yes. So Jaideep ji, it's a brilliant question, and as it always is with you, आप हमेशा दो कदम आगे होते हो. So let me address. I will address that that point once we speak on the current crisis that happened in the industry. And it's a very important question, and so मैं उसके flow के साथ में लेना चाहूँगा,
Okay.
if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Okay, so there are a couple of other questions to Nischal. So with your
Yes.
permission, can I just ask them? Okay. So
Please.
Shrikant again says that will COVID affect mutual funds? If yes, how bad?
Okay. So long and short of it, two ways how COVID can affect the mutual funds. One is if people need money, which right now they felt was their savings and was invested in the stock market or was invested in mutual funds, etc. If people need that money for their day-to-day activities or to pay salary to their people, etc., they will redeem mutual funds and use that money for their activities. Now, if that redemption goes beyond the capacity of a mutual fund, then the mutual fund will get affected because finally they have also invested that money in the stock market or bonds, etc. तो जितना पैसा वो लोग वो assets को बेच के निकाल पाएंगे वो लोग देख पाएंगे, that they can return back to the investors, but that will also mean that so many assets or the AUM of the mutual fund industry will reduce. So that is one way how it will get impacted. And second is like what happened recently, the credit crisis, that you may probably not be able to sell what you have invested in. Why? Because there are no buyers to anything. Assuming you have invested in a bond, but there is no buyer to it, then how do you sell it? And in this tight scenario, people may be so risk averse, they will not buy anything. So how will the mutual fund sell it? And so a bad name may come to the industry that मैंने पैसा डाला था लेकिन मेरा पैसा आया नहीं वापस.
Right.
Yeah.
So Parimal has her question here.
Yeah.
Where should we park our money for a short term in debt market? Liquid fund,
Perfect.
banking, or PSU fund or arbitrage fund? After Franklin
Yeah,
fiasco. Yeah.
I'm more than happy because you also gave me these options. So I'll briefly explain these instruments also. So there's an overnight fund which has been introduced by SEBI just 6-8 months back. There's a liquid fund and there is an arbitrage fund. These three funds are always better for you to deploy for a shorter period. Now let's briefly explain what these funds are. Overnight fund invests your money in such instruments which can be sold on a daily basis. जो फंड मैनेजर वो आज खरीदेगा कल सुबह बेच देगा और वो उतना लिक्विडिटी उस मार्केट में होता है. So if you want to keep your money for 1 day, 2 day, 3 days, for less than say a week or just 10-15 days, go for an overnight fund. A liquid fund, if you want to keep your money for more than a week and anytime, like 2 days, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, even if you want to keep for larger period like 1 year, 2 years, it's fine, you can do it. But generally a liquid fund is used for say from 1 week to 1 month or 2 months max, because the returns are lesser. That's why people prefer to keep it for a shorter period in liquid fund. Again, where they invest is also fairly liquid. Third is the arbitrage fund. Now the arbitrage fund is basically a fund which is a combination of debt instruments and equity instruments, but a very sophisticated trading that happens inside the scheme for you. So they will buy, say for example, the index, they will sell the actual stock, etc., etc. But because it is an equity fund, that's why the returns are little better than liquid fund, and your taxation is a equity taxation, which is just 20% on the long term and 15% on the short term. So a liquid fund will be taxed at say 30% because it's a debt mutual fund, and equity mutual fund will be taxed say at 20% and 15%. So if the returns are somewhere close by, you are better off investing in an arbitrage fund. So long and short of it, अगर पैसे का बहुत immediate ज़रूरत नहीं है, it is always better to invest in an arbitrage fund because there is one, liquidity, second, your taxation also is better.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. Any questions, Dada?
I think we're good.
Great. So the next aspect, let me start with a small story or a question, etc., etc. We all are aware what happened to crude in the last few weeks. From around 50 per barrel, it came down to 30. Now, a lot of people felt that 30 was a good range to buy. So someone like me, say, bought it at 30. Now, suddenly what happened is, it went to 20 per barrel. So Rajdeep said कि निश्चल ने 30 में लिया, मैं तो 20 में ले लूंगा, मुझे और सस्ते में मिल रहा है. Then जयदीप जी ने देखा कि ये तो 10 हो गया, $10 पर बैरल हो गया, तो जयदीप जी bought it at say 10. नवीन जी तो देख रहे कि ये तो 0 हो गया इसका वैल्यू, let me buy it at 0. Now what happened in all of this is we all bought through our hard-earned money, but the problem that happened is, though we got crude at the best possible rates that we could have seen in the last 5 years, 10 years, problem is suddenly a lockdown aa gaya. So for these last 10, 12 years, if someone would have got it for 30 or 20 or 10 or 0, that person would have minted money on crude, literally minted money, because crude has always been in the north of $50 or above $50, $70, $80, or even gone to $150, etc. In the last 1 year, it was in the range of $50 per barrel. But if you're getting it at 0, 10, 20, 30, you would have minted money in normal circumstances in the last 10 to 15 years. But today, being an exceptional situation, though we bought it at the best rates, the problem because of the lockdown, there was no vehicle on the road. There was no factory that was operating. So nobody is even ready to buy it for 0 rupees right now, or $0 per barrel. Right? So this is an exceptional situation that happened. Now, why I'm talking about this story? The story is about what happened in the current issue that happened, say, in the Franklin Templeton and some other mutual funds, which was a credit fund category. Now, what happened there was, now I'll first explain what a credit fund is. A credit fund is something which will, say for example, you have a company, you want to raise money from the market in the form of debt. You want to take a loan from the market. In normal circumstances, you will get only X amount of loan from the market or from a bank at say 10%. In a credit fund, what happens is a mutual fund says, I'm ready to give you more money. I'm going to give you more money, but at 12% or 14%. Which means a mutual fund says, I am taking a little bit of risk because you have already exhausted your borrowing capacity. I'm giving you more money, but at a higher rate. Now, what this is called as is a credit fund, where the mutual fund or the fund manager says, in this scheme, the investments will be a little more higher risk, but at a higher return also. And so the mutual fund industry, under the debt categorization of schemes, created a different sector called credit funds, credit risk funds. So the name is also very clear, credit risk funds. So the investor should know that this money is given to people who are going to borrow money and at a higher risk. but also the returns is higher. Now, coming to the track record, for last 10-12 years, especially Franklin Templeton was running this scheme very successfully and had given extraordinary returns, extraordinary in the sense much better returns than many other schemes for a consistent period of time. Very good returns as compared to any other debt scheme, etc., etc. And because it was debt or NCD, etc., so fairly safe. So a safe investment, but giving you better returns, you would always prefer. The assets that the overall credit risk category of mutual funds had around 80,000 crores, of which almost 30,000 crores with Franklin Templeton itself, and it was one of the largest players in the category. Okay. Now, what happened when we say this crisis happened? What exactly happened was, because of the COVID issue, because of the lockdown, etc., etc., the confidence in these companies, say for example, it had given me loan, like what Jagdeep was saying, that what happened in a couple of SL group companies, etc. The fund manager gave money to these companies. The companies were doing very well. They were ready to pay higher interest also. But suddenly, because the companies had an issue because of multiple reasons, the company was not able to pay back. Now, if the company is not able to pay back, then what happens is the value of that bond goes up exponentially. There is no buyer to that bond. So the credit fund manager cannot sell that bond to anyone because nobody wants to buy it. There's a problem in the company. Now that is an investment risk that the fund manager has taken. So if a company does bad, then now when an NCD is issued, what happens is we take a collateral. So in this case, like what you said in SL, the fund manager has the right to liquidate the collateral that was taken from the company in the form of, say, if it was loan against share, they can liquidate the shares. If it was loan against some property, they can liquidate the property and get the money back and pay it back to the investors. So if it is about the company defaulting or the company not able to pay the loan back, then the fund manager has the right to liquidate the collateral and give money back to the investors. In the current scenario, so I hope I've addressed the question, Jaideep ji. In the current scenario, what happened is, even if the company was good, there was no buyer in the market. And because these were little risky assets and there was some couple of bad companies, so people were worried. So what the investors did was, they all went on a rampage to sell the credit funds, because everyone knew these are a little higher risky assets. So people felt, in this scenario, we don't know which company will default, which company will survive, which company will die. So if we know that I have invested in a credit risk fund, which is a risky fund, let me redeem my money out of it. So people started redeeming the money from the credit risk fund category. Now when the redemption started, the fund manager started selling the assets so that the money can be recovered. Now one problem was, there was no buyer in the market, so the bond or the NCD was not able to be, the fund manager was not able to sell the bond. So again, the redemption was a problem. Now in this scenario, SEBI has allowed the fund manager to borrow to the extent of 20%. Say for example, if the entire scheme has, say, 100 crores as its AUM, for such exceptional situation, SEBI says, for a short period of 1 month, or I think 1 month it is, you can borrow from banks, etc., up to 20% of the corpus of the scheme. So what the scheme or the fund manager did was, it borrowed from a bank, say 20 crores, to pay back to the investors who had redeemed the fund, hoping that today or tomorrow, the NCDs that I'm holding, I will sell it in the market. So what it did was, it paid back all the funds to the investor, but hoping that he'll be able to sell the NCDs in the market. Now for almost an extended period, because there was no buyer in the market, or if he didn't want to buy it at such a high rate, the fund manager could not sell those NCDs, and so it landed up being that you can't sell it. You have borrowed the money. Now what to do? And so, as a precautionary measure, the fund house said, what we will do is, let's not. So there is a problem. Yes, let's address the problem. but let's not allow any more investors to come in, or let's not allow more investors to redeem the money, because if more money is redeemed, we cannot borrow. We are not allowed to borrow more than 20%. How do we pay back the money? So let's do one thing. These 6 schemes where we have a problem, let's just hold the status quo right now. No redemption, no purchase. Let's just hold. Tell the investors that there is a problem. Yes, what we are doing is, as soon as we get a chance to sell these assets, we will sell it and we'll give you your money back. For that, there is a process where you have to take approval from the trustee, you have to take approval from SEBI, you have to take approval from the investors, etc. We will follow the process, but let's not further aggravate the problem that has happened. And so we suspend or wind up these 6 schemes, which has an uncertain future. And so this step, according to most in the industry, was fairly prudent, because it just stopped or restricted getting, the damage getting further aggravated. Now in this, what happens to the investors? What happens to the investors is, right now they have a problem because they cannot sell the units. But as soon as the fund manager or it will move to the trustee company. So as soon as the trustee company can sell those assets in the market, they will take that money and proportionately give it back to the investors who had invested in that fund. Now, someone will ask, how long will it take? Now that will purely depend on how long it takes to sell those bonds. Now, this could have spiraled into a much bigger mess in the entire debt market, etc., etc. So what RBI did was, RBI said, we are giving you a 50,000 crore line of credit to all the mutual funds through the banks, that you borrow those 50,000 crores from us, but don't let the investors get hampered. So those 50,000 crores were allowed from RBI through the banks, and the mutual funds are allowed to borrow so that they can sell these assets, or people who think they can take risk and buy that bond can buy it. After that action from RBI, the nerves got settled. A lot of redemptions which were happening at a very significant proportion of redemptions were happening, kind of cooled down. People have got assured that RBI has stepped in, our money is not going anywhere, and so things have kind of improved. I would not say normalized, kind of improved, because people realize that RBI is behind them. Now in this, some people say there was a fraud, some people say all the money is lost, etc., etc. So my input on this is not a fraud. This is how market functions. There are exceptional situations that happen in the market where the best of the people will be caught off guard, and so it's not a fraud. You can always say there is a risk management failure, there is an investment failure, the fund manager shouldn't have lent to these companies. All that can be said, yes. So from an investment point of view or from the risk management point of view, you can always ask questions, because finally it's their job to manage well. But is it a fraud? It is not a fraud. Second question is all the money lost if the fund can't liquidate these assets? The money is not lost. The money is there, and no status quo remains as it is forever. But today or tomorrow, when the same things improve a bit, there will always be buyers for everything, and those papers will be sold and investors will get their money back. Again, it is never that all the bonds that the scheme was holding have gone bad. Few have gone bad. And so assuming you have invested 100 rupees, maybe you will, even right now, you can probably get 80 rupees. But so that you don't have to face those 20 rupees of loss only for a certain period of a problem, that's why the entire thing has been put on hold right now. So the money has not been lost. The money is safe. Yes, the money will come to investors a little later once the things stabilize. So this is the entire mess that people are talking about, and the headlines are very scary, etc. But yes, problem hai, magar aisa koi danger nahi hai, nor anyone will lose the money. Again, this is because of the market forces. Nobody is really, nobody has profited out of it, and like nobody would have expected crude to fall to this level or to go to negative. These are market forces. So it does happen in the market. Exceptional, super exceptional, extraordinarily exceptional, yes, but it has happened.
That is why I think that after every mutual fund promotion or what they show in the TVs, they very quickly say,
Yes.
mutual funds are subject to market.
So I also had a slide on that, and I wanted to ask people how much or how many of you have heard this. I'm sure everyone has heard this. How many of you have actually done the second line? Please read the offer document
Offer
carefully
document,
before
yeah.
investing. How many have ever done that is my question.
Sometimes we are forced to
And
hear that during.
People invest their
if
fund on finance, you know,
if
financial advisors. Nobody reads.
exactly
Actually, hardly do we invest in a newly launched scheme. The people
Right.
generally, if you see all the fund managers, they recommend only the one which have performed very well. I'll tell you, I was there in the launch ceremony of Reliance Power Fund, long back.
Right.
I would say like almost like 20 years back, when I was
Okay.
working at state utility. My brother-in-law called me to Delhi specially to attend that function and decipher what they were trying to say. Ultimately, it proved to be a wonderful fund. But that
Right.
time I said, well, a lot of such equipment companies have no future.
Right.
But मेरा अपना outlook था, उनका अपना outlook था. So
Nishal, I think
Hello.
we have a suggestion by one of our members. He says that
Yes.
only lawyers read it when a dispute happens. So that's very rightly
no.
said.
Very
Hello,
true. Very true.
Hello, Mr.
I-
Nishal.
Yes. Yes. Please.
This latter part of the comment seems to be a tongue-in-cheek comment.
Which one?
So much wisdom in these.
words.
Is that
Absolutely.
tongue-in-cheek comment? Okay. Okay.
And very frankly, I mean, it is so true.
Okay,
No,
Pooja,
I read
think
in.
wants to
I
ask
read.
something.
I read invariably.
Great, sir. Great, sir. You have patience to read those 40, 50 pages.
Just to know who is the legal advisor to the offer.
Sir, you should have spoken to me. It is on. I think it's on the third page itself.
Nishal, can I
Yes.
intervene and ask something?
Please.
So,
Please.
so let's say, for example, if some, the person takes up a job and all, like for a newcomer who is into mutual funds, who wants to get into mutual funds, what would be
Yeah.
your advice? How to go about it? How to invest? Or what should be the precautionary things they should take care, especially if they want to start up after immediately, gets over and they want to invest somewhere their money? What would be your advice for that?
Yeah. So either you are referring to someone who wants to invest in the
Start
mutual fund, right?
and yeah, and is a starter. Is completely new to the mutual funds.
Right. So the most appropriate way, and I'll say this with a lot of responsibility, is to, in current situation, is to one, the mode should be SIP. SIP means it's not complicated though it sounds. It is a systematic investment plan, which means at a fixed interval, which you decide, X amount of your money will by default from your bank get invested in a certain mutual fund which you choose to invest. Now, why a SIP? Because, say for example, today, see the stock market is at 9,000. Last month it was say in the month of Feb it was at 12,000. Assuming you would have started investing in the stock market at 12,000 stock market, right? And the market has gone to 9,000. In the month of Feb, you would have invested, say, all your money that you had, right? You were then in the matter of 2 months, your money is down by 3,000 points, which would be almost 30% of your investment, right? That's why SIP is always advisable. What happens in SIP is you would have if you were to invest 1 lakh, you would have started investing 10,000 in February, 10,000 in March, 10,000 in April, 10,000 in May. So at every time the market falls, you are investing at that level. So it would be 12,000, 11,000, 10,000, 9,000. You are capturing every time the market is falling. So the impact on your investment at the downside is fairly averaged. So assuming after 6 months, if you see, you would have on an average invested your 1 lakh rupees at a range of, in the range of say 10 to 11,000, while the market if that time is say 9,000, 10,000 or 12,000 or even 14,000, your buying price is averaged out, right? So it's always better to invest staggered manner, and SIP is one such route to invest in a staggered manner. Now, where to invest? Ideally, in the current scenario, because the markets are very volatile because of multiple reasons like COVID, etc., etc., it's always good to be in the best of the companies that you know, which means the top companies of the country or the stock market. It's always better to be there because one, they have to do a lot of disclosures because they are listed, etc., etc. Two, they have a lot of track record. They are sustaining good performance for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. And so you are fairly comfortable investing in such companies. And so if it's a mutual fund, better to invest in a large cap mutual fund. A large cap mutual fund means it will invest only in the say top 50 companies of the country. Nifty 50 is what it is, the top 50 companies. So it has a universe which we can invest on a larger segment also. But in the current scenario, they would generally invest in the best companies that we know, like a HDFC or a Reliance, etc., etc. So in this context, and to answer your question, better to do SIP and to invest in large cap funds, because there's another reason also. If the economy improves and things improve, the good companies will always benefit first. The weaker companies will slowly benefit, but the best companies will always benefit first. So even investing in the strongest companies, you will get good returns that way.
Hi, Nishchal, a great discussion.
Thank you, Pooja.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
In this coming scenario, you see that NBFCs and banks, the returns which they are going to give to the investors is not going to be great. So as funds like Franklin Templeton and others, how the mutual fund industry is going to give a return back to its investors when we don't see the NBFCs or the BFSI having a flip in the near future, maybe at least a year or 2 years to pick it back. So what do you think the average return of the mutual fund industry is going to be in the next 1 to 2 years?
Okay, so let me just give you this scenario. In the month of Feb, markets Nifty was around say 12,000. In the month of March, just 35 to 40 days, it went down to 9,000, right? It went down to 7,500.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right now, it is back to 9,600 something. Okay. Largely because of pharma and BFSI. Okay. So nothing is fixed that these sectors will not do well, these sectors will do well. Now there's another contrary view also. If an economy has to improve, it has to improve based on the money that flows in the system. And where does the money flow from? It flows from the banks and NBFCs, right? So if the banks and NBFCs are not going to do well, the entire economy will also not do well, right? So for anyone to say, assume that these sectors will not do well is also somewhere questionable. And so obviously I'm not recommending that these are the sectors that they will do well, because generally the stock market is future looking. It doesn't see the past. It assumes what will happen in the future, and accordingly the stock market moves. But to assume that these sectors will not do well is also not very assuring.
But just 2 or 3 sectors will do good, right? What about the major 80 to 90% of the AUM is not going to do well, right? At
But
least
it will
for a
always
year.
give you market returns, no? So for example, if the Nifty has gained, for example, say 10%, right? Then
Right.
you will also get in the range of that, right?
No, I agree.
So,
My question is that what is the average return which the mutual fund industry is going to promise to its investors in the next 1 to 2 years?
so one, it cannot promise. First
It
one,
cannot
it cannot
Right.
promise, because that's not
But
practically possible.
you foresee a dip for sure.
I don't foresee a dip for sure. As I said, the market has its own dynamics. There might, if assuming tomorrow morning we have a solution for COVID, if tomorrow morning the government gives a huge stimulus, you might just see the market moving in a different direction altogether. as I said, the market looks at the future and not the past. If the market thinks that there is a solution for COVID, if the market sees that there's a huge stimulus coming to the Indian economy, it might just raise in a different direction altogether.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Two sectors are always going to be in they can never go into recession. One is this pharma, and second is the FMCG, fast moving I mean, the ration shops have to remain open, people have to eat.
Yes.
So that is my view.
Sure. So Pradeep ji,
for investing.
So I get your point. So generally what also happens is things are very relative. So if you see, so when I started my career, I heard from a very reputed research guy saying that for the next 20 years, pharma sector will always do well. Okay. But if you see the track record of the pharma sector for last 7 years, it has always been very flattish. It has not given exceptional returns. But if you see last couple of months, the pharma sector has given almost vertical returns, right? So as I said, the market always anticipates the future and moves itself. Because the market and everyone felt that these returns will always do well, so then there was no price discovery really happening. अगर मुझे पता है, आपको पता है, सबको अगर पता है, तो कोई उसमें क्या gains ले पाएगा, right? So in a relative context, they generally would remain, say, flattish. Yes. Why it moved almost vertically in the last couple of months? Because people realized that nothing else will move and only this sector will move. So when you see relatively, this sector was far more in demand than any other sector. And that's why you see in the last couple of months, there is almost a vertical movement. Because relatively, this sector was going to do much better than any other sector. So there are multiple dynamics which will determine where the stock price goes. I hope I could answer your question. A little complicated, but
yes. The money which was chasing the other stocks has gone into these sectors.
Yes. Anticipating they will do really well.
Yes, and FMCG also, particularly, and these two also particularly in view of COVID-19 in the last 2-3 months, these have been really doing very well, these two sectors.
Yes.
Perfect. So basically, whatever you hear, it's not really true. It's all subjective. It all depends from time to time.
Absolutely. So good to hear the headlines, etc., on newspapers and news channels and all. But always better to get the right context, get the right understanding, and at least when it comes to the financial industry, that I've been part of the financial industry for so long. It's a very highly regulated industry, so the chances of things like fraud and all are very less, very controlled, and so it is always better to understand these things, because finally why I'm saying this is the banking industry, the financial industry, these are the most important pillars of the economy. For these industries to do frauds and all is very difficult, and that's why when this entire thing happened of ये तो fraud है, ये तो कुछ है. So I felt that it's better to clarify to people that these are market forces and it's not necessary to do with the fraud, etc.
Right, because I feel that there's a lot of more understanding, lot of more educative material that is required for the public to understand the essence and the importance of mutual funds and why it is necessary, and what educative material should you actually put in yourself to put in context this entire vast area of mutual funds. That's what I feel.
Yeah. So actually, just to add to that, I was hearing an interview of Lakshmi Mittal, and this was almost 2 to 3 years back, and he was narrating his own story. And I'm sorry, I'm just kind of
no problem. We'll have to again come back because we just have 15 seconds. We'll come back again. Everybody who's
if people are interested, I mean,
No, absolutely. So we've just got 5 seconds. Everybody come back using the same login ID. We'll be back with Nishal once again.
Sure.
I think, yeah.